Welcome to the channel, folks. Today's adventure starts from Kingman, Arizona as we head west. In Kingman, we'll check out Mr. D's Diner, Old Locomotive 3759, the old water towers. We'll go over the incredible Sitgreaves Pass, check out the town of Oatman, and finally end up at Roy's Motel and Cafe in Amboy. I slept overnight at the Denny's Flying J, and it was awesome, and then I went in for breakfast in the morning, which was pretty cool, and then we headed out on the town. We saw a couple of cool neon signs as we were heading west, and then we got to these very cool old water towers. Kingman was established in 1882 and named in honor of Louis Kingman. Kingman surveyed the area between Albuquerque and Needles and supervised the building of a railroad connecting Winslow to Beale Springs. At the entrance of the city center, you'll be greeted by 3 white towers, 2 of the same type, while the other is an elevated tank. The water tanks, once used to add water to railroad steam engines, are more than 100 years old. Rusty and leaking, the tanks were slated to be torn down in 1986, but longtime Kingman resident Betty McBrayer led a citizen effort to save and restore the tank as historical artifacts. One has a Route 66 shield painted on the structure, and another has a mural depicting a steam locomotive bursting through a water tank. These are super cool. At the west end of Kingman, you'll find Locomotive Park, which is a beautiful location and a popular place to enjoy an afternoon relaxing under the shade trees. It's home to famed steam engine number 3759, presented to the city of Kingman as a historical monument in 1957 by the Santa Fe Railroad Company. This northern type coal-burning locomotive was built in 1928 by Baldwin Locomotive Works. In 1941, it was rebuilt and converted to run on oil fuel. The average eastbound speed was 54.3 miles per hour, and the westbound speed was 60.2 miles per hour. Top speed of the locomotive was 100 miles per hour, and the gross weight, including tender, was 468,800 pounds. Kingman served as a water stop on the eastbound run. Number 3759 traveled a total of 2,585,600 miles during its years of service. Today, visitors can climb up into the cab of the old steam engine. Between the water tanks and Locomotive Park, where you pass through Old Town, there's a Hotel Beale, the Sportsman Bar, and the Brunswick Hotel. Right across the street from Locomotive Park is the famous Mr. D's Diner. This rockin' 1950s era old-fashioned diner takes you back to the glory days of the Mother Road. Mr. D's Route 66 Diner is housed in the former Kingman Cafe and Chemo Shell Station, which opened in 1939. The Dunton family bought the old gas station and cafe in the 1980s and turned it into a diner. The front dining room is where the former gas pumps used to be. Roy Dunton ran Mr. D's Route 66 Diner for years and based many of the dishes on family recipes. Dunton even created the world-famous Mr. D's root beer. In 2000, Dunton leased Mr. D's to new owners, Armando and Michelle Jimenez. The diner is loaded with Route 66 memorabilia and has served notable celebrities such as Oprah Winfrey and Gayle King. Next, we leave the glorious establishment of Kingman and head up for Sitgreaves Pass. Sitgreaves Pass is known as the most technical, steepest, twistiest section of Route 66 on the entire route. It's not recommended for large RVs or the faint of heart. Oh, and before I forget to mention it, if you have a hankering to visit Hoover Dam, you can do so from Kingman before you tackle Sitgreaves Pass. The first thing you'll come to is you climb up Sitgreaves Pass is Cool Springs Station. Built in the 1920s, in its heyday, Cool Springs was a beacon of light offering cabins, home-cooked meals, and most importantly, fresh water and gasoline to travelers who face the challenging desert temperatures. With the introduction of the interstate, Cool Springs Station became another victim of the decline of Route 66, closing its doors in 1966. In 1997, Ned Luckner passed Cool Springs and fell in love with the beauty, history, and majesty of the roadside stop and surrounding area. He set out to buy the property and 4 years later convinced the current owners to sell. In 2001, after 35 years, the lights beamed once again and the doors opened on the rebirth of this special place. The rebuilt Cool Springs Station is now a gift shop offering Route 66 souvenirs. Next, we continue up the beautiful, steep and twisty Sitgreaves Pass. It's an amazing drive and is so beautiful. After you pass Cool Springs, you'll come to Ed's Camp, which is actually privately owned and forbidden for tourists. Just east of milepost 30, which is about 0.7 miles east of the summit, you'll come to a wide spot on the inside shoulder which offers a place to park, and over 30 rock steps lead up to Shaffer's Fish Bowl Springs, which is a man-made basin that collects water from a sea. Flowers appear in season, as do bees. Please respect the fragile beauty of this area and watch out for snakes. As we climb up to the summit, we stop to take in some incredible views to the east on this twisty road, which has something like 91 curves in in 8 miles. And then we finally work our way up to Sitgreaves Pass, which sits at 3,550 feet. At the summit, there's a pullout, and you can stop and take in the view that expands to the west, and you can also see the road as it works its way down to the amazing town of Oatman, which is our next stop. Next up, we arrive in the town of Oatman. Parking can be difficult in this crowded tourist town, but I was able to find a dirt lot, and a $2 donation was asked for by the sign, and it was gladly placed in the barrel. This is the most authentic Wild West town in our entire journey. The town began as a small mining camp when 2 prospectors struck a $10 million gold vein in 1915, though the vicinity had already been settled for a number of years. The name Oatman was chosen in honor of Olive Oatman, a young Illinois girl who was captured and enslaved by Native Americans. She was later sold to the Mojave, who adopted her and tattooed her face in the custom of the tribe, before being released in 1856 at Fort Yuma. If you've heard about Oatman, it's probably because of the wild burros. Visitors pet the often docile animals as they roam the village, or feed them alfalfa cubes sold by local shops. Feed donkeys only the food you get at the shops, and be careful. They're generally docile, but they can be rowdy if provoked. A must-stop here is the Oatman Hotel, Restaurant, and Saloon, built in 1902. The hotel's restaurant and bar are a sight to behold. I don't believe you can stay there anymore, but it's a great visit anyway. And if you're lucky enough, you'll cruise through there midday. There's a gunfight show at high noon and 2:15 p.m. It's 5 or 10 minutes long, and it's intended to be humorous, and it's pretty good. And I'll just show you a snippet here because we got to keep the video moving.
I'm the sheriff!
Yeah! Wait a minute, this town's not even supposed to have a sheriff.
It's my first day.
Just my luck.
Wow! You don't have to do that. Got a gold coin. If you could shoot this gold coin in the air, put a hole in it, I'll let you have the gold. I know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
You're ready. Good to go?
Go.
For my safety, I figured it was time to get the heck out of town, so I headed out of Oatman, saw a few sights on the way, and then the road kind of mellows out and straightens out. It's no longer curvy, and this will take me all the way down to the Colorado River and I-40 where we'll cross over. As I head out of town, I see a couple of more burros before we get into the wide open stretch that takes us all the way to the Colorado. Once there, we're close to the California border and things are about to change. This is the town of Topak. It didn't appear much was going on there. Then of course we go under the railroad and cross the Colorado River and get back on I-40 for a stretch. And then we take the 5-mile road exit, stop at this information booth here, and then we take Old 66 for a while. Next up, we arrive in the desert town of Needles, California. This is a hot and dry place, and it's got some beautiful old neon here. This Sage Motel sign is definitely deserving of a restoration. And then there's the Wagon Wheel Restaurant. This is a well-known place. It was constructed in the early 1950s as Lynn's Broiler and became the Wagon Wheel Restaurant in 1978. This place has been a favorite for locals and Route 66 travelers for many years. I also had a little side trip in Needles to the AutoZone, and I mention it here because it's relevant for the weather. In Arizona, I was at higher elevation at about 7,000 feet, and the weather was coming through, so there was snow and it was really cool, below freezing at night, and the days were cool at maybe 50 degrees or so. But once I got into California, the weather improved and I dropped down in elevation, and suddenly it was 85 to 90 degrees, and the air conditioning in my van was not working. So I stopped at the AutoZone to see about getting a can to charge up my air conditioner. I wish I could say that the staff was more helpful than they were, but I eventually figured it out, got my air conditioner charged up, and it started working again. So I traveled in comfort for the rest of the way. After Needles, I was trying to get to Roy's and photograph the famous iconic neon sign before night, but I failed in the mission because there were 2 road closures. One is the first Route 66 that heads into Amboy, and then there's a cutoff called Kell Baker Road that I could have taken, but that was also closed. So I had to go all the way to Ludlow and then backtrack to Amboy, which is a long way around, but eventually I made it. Once in Amboy, I went to the cafe and had a great conversation with Heather, who kind of brought me up to date on what's going on with the camping and what's going on with the Amboy restaurant and cafe. But it was a beautiful stop. How are you doing? Are you guys offering lodging these days?
No, I'm sorry.
No?
No.
Just gas and store? And diner?
Gas and store.
No diner?
No diner.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the sign is a liar.
Well, yeah, I know. But I mean, I've been
Full
coming.
liar, not just half liar.
Many years ago, I used to do the Furnace Creek 508 bike race that used to come through here.
I've only been working here since August, so I...
You don't know about, yeah, there used to be, it's a 500-mile race and it would go at night. We'd come through here at I can't remember what time of day. It was probably maybe early morning. But what I wanted to ask you is, do you offer any overnight parking for self-contained vehicles?
What's a self-contained vehicle?
That means you don't have to set up a tent. You don't have to get out and use the bathroom. You don't have to...
Oh, okay, like a camper van?
Yeah, I've got a Sprinter van, you know.
So we have overnight stays, but it's $25 a night. And it's usually we ask people to park across the street between the Buddha and the post office.
So it's just like literally straight across the street? Okay. Well, I can go camp up the road for free, but I want to...
I'm fully aware. And I do suggest people do that a lot.
Up at the...
Crater.
Yeah.
Crater parking lot, yep.
Yeah.
The only difference between like the Crater parking lot and here is coffee in the morning.
Wait a minute, do you serve coffee here, or?
We have coffee here, yeah.
Okay. Is there plans to offer diner-style food?
So, the first thing that they plan on doing, the owners are planning on doing the cottages first, remodel. They are currently, well, they have a lot in the works. Like today we had electrical crew, a crane doing something in the back. We've had natural gas run to them already. And the septic, sewer, all that stuff, their crew was out here today as well. So they are planning on doing that first, the remodeling of the 6 cottages, and then after that is going to be the diner.
Nice.
Yeah, hopefully before 2026.
So a couple more years before it's all...
Before the centennial of Route 66, hopefully.
So the owners now, they when they bought it, they wanted to bring the cabin thing back, right? I mean, that was part of the idea, or... I
honestly don't know what Albert Orcora's vision was, but he did pass away early last year, unfortunately. I did not get to meet him, so I've heard a lot about him though. So I don't know if it was necessarily his plan originally, but I do know that his son Kyle, who is actually currently on the property right now, his vision is to make this his father's legacy. Yeah. They're a great family, like they're very family oriented, they're super down-to-earth people. Oh,
you know what I wanted to ask you? You know, there's the roads coming from this way, there's 2 of them that are closed.
From here to Calbaker and from Calbaker to Cadez, those 2 sections, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but I saw it, but it's kind of, it's like a soft closure kind of, but I didn't know if you could get all the way through.
So legally, I can't tell you this, but off the books, you can go around the 3 roadblocks from here to Calbaker, just staying to the right of each of the bridges that are closed off. There's going to be 3.
But the other one, is it really closed?
That's been closed for 12 years. Then 3 bridges over there are completely wiped out.
Yeah, so you can't go that way.
I would not recommend, not suggest even trying, don't do it.
Because okay, so I knew about that one, and then my Google told me to take Calbaker, and I'm like, cool, and I got to the thing, and then there was a roadblock, but you know, you could tell it's like no through traffic, you know. And then when I was there, some guy comes blowing through the thing at like 60 miles an hour, it just goes, I mean, it wasn't, you know, you don't even have to go around them. It said road closed, but I thought, you know, I don't want to get out, you know.
Yeah, there's only one bridge that actually has structural damage. It's not even the one you can see here or the one right before Calbaker. It's the one dead center. Yeah. It's literally only one that has any kind of damage, and it's missing 2 support beams.
Yeah, so I ended up having to go all the way to Ludlow. You know, I was coming from Needles. So I went all the way to and then came back because I wanted to come here. The sign alone is worth it, you know. Yeah. But if that was open, it would have been perfect because it's probably best at dusk, you know, because then you get some sky and some light, and it's
and you missed the film crew that was out here too. They actually just left. They're doing a documentary on the place.
Really? Well, that's gonna help.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Super nice people.
Does this stay open all night or?
Nope. I close at what's today? Wednesday. I close at 8:30.
Oh. So you're almost done?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you going to be around in the morning, or?
I will not be. My boss will be here in the morning. Ken, he knows literally everything about Amboy.
Oh. Now, is Ken the son of the...
No, that's Kyle. Kyle's leaving tonight.
Okay.
Super nice guy.
And who is Ken?
Ken is the manager.
Okay, but he knows everything about the place.
Literally everything. Yeah. It's crazy the amount of knowledge that he has stored in his brain.
Yeah.
I hung around, took a few pictures after dark, and then I retired to the Amboy Crater, and surprisingly it's BLM land. Even though it's a national landmark, you can actually camp in the parking lot, and that was really peaceful and beautiful. Thanks for coming along. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time, thanks for watching.